Hey guys, it's Darren with Arbitrage Trade. I have my guest here, Daniel Hopwood over in Singapore. And this is Deep Dive with Daniel. So, what are we diving down and trying to learn this week? We are learning about staking. And this is not about going to your favorite steakhouse. This is, and the memo is called Crypto Staking 101, What Investors Need to Know and Why Congress Left It Out. So, let's get into that. So, we got a little politics thrown in here too, looks like, or just not knowing anything.
If only Josh was here to.
Oh, I know it's let him give his 2 cents. So kind of just what the heck is staking? We'll start it off there so that we can kind of go from there to what this whole blog's about.
Yeah, so I think it is important to note the kind of two different underlying technologies of crypto. So it started with proof of work, which is what Bitcoin was based on. So essentially, it was you put in you had a validator node. It put in the work to say that yes, we verify this Bitcoin, exchange between two people, which is where the blockchain ledger comes from. Is a verification of the work that's done. And that proof of work is kind of just what Bitcoin is based on, right? And it's quite energy intensive. And then came along Ethereum with proof of stake. Well, actually, they started with proof of work and then they moved to proof of stake. And proof of stake was essentially a more efficient way to get a validation on the blockchain. And what it requires is that you stake your Ethereum, in a validator node, and you use that Ethereum to validate once again the transactions on the blockchain. And when you either in both proof of work and proof of stake, when you validate the transaction, you do it, right, you get kind of a small payment of the crypto that you're validating. So, proof of stake with Ethereum with a validator node. For one validator node, you have to stake at least 32 Ethereum, and then you get a fraction of Ethereum back for everything that you validate. So it's kind of like a way of one participating in the network, and for your participation, you kind of get a dividend or like a yield is like the best way to think of it.
Well, you get it back in whatever you're staking, right? I mean, it's whatever crypto you're working with. You get
Exactly
back
right. So
as payment.
like for example, you can actually and they take a cut, but you can stake your Ethereum
Of course.
on Coinbase, and they give you back like 3 or 4%.
So, and as you said in the article, it's like getting interest. Instead of money, now it's crypto. Um,
I think to jump ahead, the best way to think of it is young people may not really know what these are, but it's like a CD, right? You have to have your money locked up for a period of time,
yep.
right? And you get back a certain percent and you can pull out and get back a certain percent at that period of time, or you can roll it forward.
Gotcha. And you said that at some point it was like a promotion. You can become a validator. I mean, what does that do? What it does that give you a better percentage, or what? Why would I want to be a validator?
So I mean, you want to be a validator because that's how you get the yield, and it's also like the more validator nodes you have, like you kind of get like a vote in the Ethereum network of like the changes they make, right? So if you care about that, then you want to have more validator nodes. But for a regular retail investor, just being
Yeah,
able to stake and get some rewards is
but
probably
you can
enough.
make. It's almost like being part of the board. I guess the more you get to make more decisions
Yep.
as a group of people on what's going to happen with this crypto and what future decisions are going to be. Is that what it is?
hmm
Okay. All right. So why would I want, besides the interest thing, is that the main reason? Why would I want to be a investor and stake my crypto? Is it
Yeah,
just
I
for
mean it's
staking?
we actually talked about this on the pause. It's kind of or on the pod of After the Bell.
Yeah.
It's kind of the difference between of what crypto can do and gold can do, right? Like you can own gold, but it's unutilized asset, right? That's actually why Warren Buffett never bought it or recommended it. It's like it doesn't
Right.
do anything. It's just a shiny yellow rock for all intents and purposes. But with crypto, especially with proof of stake, it can be used in the network as these validator nodes, and then you get return on it, right? So it's really the whole point of staking is one, it makes the network work, and then you get that reward of the yield for helping make that network work. We talk in the article that proof of stake is more economically friendly because of its energy consumption than proof of work. The more validator nodes, it helps the network be more secure. And then you get kind of that voting right for all the validator nodes you have. But what people really want out of it, and what the BlackRocks and Fidelities of the world are going to be looking for, is to be able to stake to get that yield as kind of another product that they can provide, and take their cut of when they're able to provide it. But right now, that did not pass with the Genius Act, so still
There you
waiting.
go. That was the next question is this whole Genius Act. Um, and you just kind of hinted to what it doesn't cover. But just kind of they're still looking at the whole regulation piece in general. At least now there's a committee for it. Um, but everything's not been laid down. The regulations still aren't down yet on what's going to happen with all of this. We're still in basically the new when it comes to regulation on this. So just kind of run down the Genius Act and what it does and doesn't include.
Yeah, so I mean, the Genius Act was there to provide more clarity to the crypto industry so that companies like Coinbase can operate not in kind of a legal area. I forget what the term was, but it was kind of like the crypto companies would get no clarity on what they had to do, and then they would do something, and then they would get regulated, and then they would be like, "Oh, you can't do that." It's like, well, we try to ask for clarity, right? So it
Right,
gives a
right.
lot more clarity, like a framework and a process to like look to get approval for things, which is really good. And really, a big part of the Genius Act was kind of um, validating stable coins as like a legal thing to do, which I think is really good for U.S. Dollar dominance.
Right.
Obviously as Americans we like that. Um, but staking didn't make it in for a handful of reasons. One, it's like kind of confusing of that because crypto is like technically a commodity, but then you have a yield on a commodity, which like isn't a thing. How does it get taxed from like that perspective? Um, we're kind of just approving crypto. So then it's like to have it regulatorily approved for like this almost kind of new asset class on top of this
Yep.
new way yield is created is like it's kind of a lot to ask up front. Also, it's like when you have these bills, you don't get everything done at once. And I guess there was a lot of pushback from kind of the smaller regional banks and community banks of that, they can't provide, we talked about how staking, you can get a yield of 4 to 12%. Um, a local bank isn't going to be able to give you 12% on your money, right? So they're really quite worried about losing out to maybe somebody like Coinbase, where you can stake your Ethereum and get X percentage points, and they can't provide that, nor can they even provide crypto currently. So it's kind of gives them a chance to catch up. That being said, it's like I don't really know who, I know people do use them, but like as far as people who are going to use crypto and searching those bigger yields, nobody's using a community bank uh,
No.
like that,
Mm-mm.
right?
No.
So
Usually it's the phone.
it's a bit silly, but with those big bills, you got to take what you can get at the end of the day.
Yep.
So
So you wrapped it up by just saying, "Hey, this is regulation has just started. You never know what'll happen in future chapters of the regulation. So just be careful. But that staking in general can also bring you what we talked about, which was the yield, security, and governance. That is all part of this whole new world that started not too long ago, and now all the banks are jumping in, and this staking is just another part of that. So, Um, just be careful with what you do. Do your homework. We always say do your due diligence or your DD before jumping in anything that's an investment tool. And hopefully, if you know nothing about crypto, then this could have been a harder thing to listen to today. But if you know some about crypto, we're just saying, hey, just jump in there and take a look at staking because it's a lot of people are moving to that to grab that yield and to basically validate this whole thing called crypto. So, anything else you want to add there to the at the end there?
Yeah,
Okay.
not financial advice, but if
Right.
you're interested in this, the major platforms, Coinbase, Gemini, you know, you might even be able to do it on Robinhood. I'm not entirely sure. Um, they all provide staking. It's not the same crazy yield that you'll maybe get on some of the more crypto native platforms. Um, but start there if you're interested. See how you like having your money locked up. What happens with it, and then if you're gonna go to the other higher yield platforms, I just make sure they're legitimate ones and that you're keeping your
Right.
keys safe so that nothing
Yes.
gets taken of
Yep.
what you do have. So it's still the Wild West,
Yep.
but it's there's a sheriff in town now, so you can feel a bit more comfortable.
It's the infantry stage, and there's a parent in town. All
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Thanks, Daniel, and I look forward to see what you have next time for us in the educational world of finance. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Darren.